So in the first video, I talked about the meaning of some of the connecting words, like time, emphasis, conclusion, or reason, and we saw some examples of some of the connecting words. Now we're going to talk about the different sentence structure in different connecting words. So what the colors mean are that the sentences follow the same pattern or have the same general punctuation. Okay, so I'm grouping some sentences from our original set of sentences that we looked at. And I'm grouping them because all three, but, and so, all have the same punctuation. You can see that they have a subject and verb, they have a comma, then they have the connecting word, and then they have another subject and a verb. These ones, of course, are also called fanboys, okay, where fan means for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay, for all of these connecting words, they will follow the same formula or the same structure of creating a sentence. That is why when you look at your connecting words charts, all of those words which are here are in red. And when you look at the second page of your connecting words chart, you can see an explanation of the formula that is allowed. So in this case, the formula that is allowed is use a comma before the connecting word. That also means that we should not start a sentence with any one of these connecting words. These fanboys go in the middle of a sentence. They do not begin a sentence in what we are studying. Now, maybe you're wondering why I have math in English class. I shared a formula, which maybe you know from your math studies, of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is the way that we find a formula in math for the triangle. Okay, what if I don't like that? And I want to say like 2a plus 2b equals c. Can I do that? What if I make it 2c? Can I change it that way? No, I cannot change the formula. This is the same in English with connecting words. We cannot change these ideas about where the comma should go, how many subjects and verbs we should have in a sentence. These are formulas. They cannot be changed. We have to follow them in order to have our sentences structured correctly. So some of the things that I'm showing you today might seem very small or picky or something like that, but remember, just like math, English and writing have rules that we need to try to follow. So let's look at another group. And I'm going to group a couple sentences together here that are similar to however. So the first one will be in addition is similar to however, okay, and as a result is also similar to however. You might notice that there are actually a few differences in the punctuation here. You will see that although it's not. Okay, so these three have similar punctuation in their sentence structure. So in this case, you might notice that there is a difference because before however and as a result, we had a period and a capital letter. But before in addition, we had a semicolon. That is because both a semicolon and a period can be used to mark the end of a complete sentence. So in this case, either one is okay, but we must have a comma after the connecting word. And you can see that with but and so and the other fanboys, we don't have a comma after, only a comma before. But in this one, we have a comma after. Okay, so just to compare what this looks like on our connecting words chart, all of these connecting words that follow this pattern are in blue. And you can see two examples. One uses as a result with a semicolon before and a comma after, and one uses a period before and a comma after. Okay, let's move on to the next group of sentences. Okay, those are called transition words, by the way. In the next group, we will have although. Okay, we will not have in addition to, but we will have since. Since and although follow the same punctuation pattern. These are called subordinators, and they work when the connecting word goes in the beginning of the sentence and we have a comma in the middle of the sentence. There's also another way that these green connecting words work. They are green on your chart, and they include although. Probably the most famous one is because. So if you already know the rules for because, you could just apply them, the same rules, to everything in this group when you make a sentence. Okay, but basically the connecting word can either go at the beginning of the sentence with a comma in the middle, or if I put the connecting word in the middle, like because, no comma, no punctuation. Okay, so why was our last example sentence in addition to in a different place? Maybe you remember that I said we had to put, instead of having the second kind of part of this marked yellow, we marked it in green, and that was because it's not actually a complete subject and verb. This part of the sentence is only a noun phrase, okay? And in addition to is a purple connecting word, which when we look on our chart, we can see is actually a preposition, So for these types of connecting words, we are joining a phrase and an independent clause. In fact, it will be a noun phrase and an independent clause. So here are some examples. As a result of studying, comma, I passed the test, or I passed the test as a result of studying. So all of the ones that are in purple follow this pattern. You can see that many times they're actually very similar to other connecting words like in addition to, or in contrast to, as a result of. But after all of these connecting words, we only need a noun, not a complete sentence. I'm going to show one more example with some of the most famous connecting words, for example, and such as. So you can see that for example is a blue connecting word, and such as is purple, which means it's a preposition. Okay, now I'm going to give some an example with for example first. Okay, we learn many things in reading class. Okay, now here are some of the things we learn in reading class: vocabulary, comprehension, and reading faster. Okay, so there are two ways that I can make these sentences. We learn many things in reading class. I can say period. For example, comma. Now I need a new subject and a verb. I cannot just put this list because I need a new subject and verb. So I will say, for example, we learn vocabulary, comprehension, and reading faster. Okay, if I want to punctuate this a little bit differently, I could also put a semicolon here and a comma after. So you notice that we have two subjects and verbs. Unfortunately, they're both the same in this case. That probably wasn't the best example. I could say, instead of we learn, I could say we study. Okay, vocabulary, comprehension, and reading faster. Okay, now if I want to do, and that is because this part is blue. Okay, for example, this is a blue transition word, connecting word, and that is how we punctuate it. Okay, now if I want to use such as instead, I'm going to remove the semicolon or period, remove for example, and I'm going to change it to such as. I'm actually just going to put this in purple so we can see that it's a little bit different from for example. So such as, after such as, I don't need we study, I just need a list. So we learn many things in reading class, such as vocabulary, comprehension, and reading faster. So a list of nouns. A comma here before such as is optional, not required. You can put it, but you don't have to. Okay, so hopefully this gives you a little bit of overview of the differences that you can follow on this chart and how the chart can help you a little bit with your writing. Next, I'll be talking about how to use the chart and how to do some important assignments.